Hello and welcome back to my craft room. I've just got back from a little short weekend away and guess what was waiting for me? Woohoo! So this is my October 2021 Scrawlr box. Without further witter and waffle, let's go straight to desk cam and I can show you what's inside. Right, I've broken the seal but I haven't peeked inside yet. So for anybody that doesn't know, that might be watching, this is a monthly subscription box. I will leave links to it below in case you're interested in checking it out. And it's a complete mystery. You never have any idea what's going to turn up. It could be markers, pencils, crayons, paints, mixtures of any of those. It could be anything, but it's going to be art supplies. And it's always going to be something a bit fun and a bit different, and they will kind of all work together. So you always get Scrawlrs in, and here's the first sort of glimpse at what we might expect in the package. So I'm not going to peek inside this yet and spoil the surprise. But I love those colours. I love that colour combo. Oh, look at this. There's also always a featured artist who I believe helps to put the box together. So this month we've got Alexandra Olivia, a visual artist known for her colourful and intricate illustration. Read a bit more about her later. Love that style. Absolutely love that. You always get some kind of a substrate. It could be a little sketchbook, it could be some canvas or artboard. It will be some kind of a substrate that suits the materials we've got. So big clue here, we've got 10 sheets of marker paper. I love marker paper because it's lovely and smooth, and it kind of doesn't, you don't get problems with them bleeding. So I'm going to put the box out the way and we'll get into the really fun part. Have a proper look at the Scrawlrs in a minute. Oh, I do love Scrawlr days. Oh, another thing you always get is a little sweetie of some kind. I love how they usually kind of colour coordinate them with the supplies. I reckon this is one of those rhubarb and custard ones, which I love. So I'll have it in a minute. Perhaps not when I'm trying to talk on the camera though. So you always get a sticker. I've got quite a collection of these now. I've covered a couple of sketchbook covers with them. And then you get like a menu card. So it tells you more details about the supplies, which I'll have a look at in a minute. And tells you about the theme for this month and gives you a word or words for this month's Scrawlr challenge. This time it's out of the lamp. If you had 3 wishes, what would they be? This box is all about bringing them out of the lamp and onto the page. Exciting. So what have we got? Oh, lovely texture on here. I wasn't expecting that. So it's called the Grip 2001. It's a Faber Castell 2B pencil. And it's got these little black dots that you can see here are actually raised kind of nodules. So I suppose it helps you to grip when you're working. It's just quite, I really like tactile things, so that's quite fun. I also like pencil. I wish all pencils were kind of triangular like this, because they don't go rolling off onto the floor and breaking all the leads. I think all pencils and all pens should be triangular. Oh, I suppose this shape also doesn't roll off. So what are these? Oh, Copic Sketch. So I've used Copic markers before and other alcohol markers. These are called Copic Sketch. I wonder if that's different. I'll find out in a minute. So they've got that brush point at one end and like a chisel point at the other, chisel tip. But is this? Yes, it's quite a flexible tip as well, so it'll behave more like a real brush. They've got 3 lovely colours, red, yellow and blue. I'm assuming they've all got the brush tip and chisel tip, and then we've got a uni pin fine line, 0.3. Well, that fine liner's always a useful thing. I have used up a few during Inktober this month, so happy to have another one. Don't think I've got this actual kind though, so water and fade proof pigment ink. And then this is like a putty rubber. Oh, being stupid, I can't work out how to open it. Can't I open it? Oh, there we go. It's easy. Yeah, Kneadable Art Eraser. I have got a couple of these, which I've been using for a long time. One of them's probably given up the ghost actually. So it's nice to have another one. They're always good. They're always good for all sorts of techniques. Right, so that's what we've got in. Let's have a bit more of a read. See what other information there is. So, right, the Copic sketch markers. So the names of the colours are Strong Red, Aqua and Canary Yellow. Copic sketch markers are professional quality art and graphics twin-tipped alcohol markers. So I'm wondering what's going to happen if you combine them with this. That are fantastic for all your fine art requirements. These pens feature a soft and flexible brush nib that's ideal for detailed work and variable width strokes, as well as a chisel nib that's great for filling in large blocks of colour. These versatile pens will layer and blend perfectly and are highly flavoured highly favoured amongst marker artists. Alcohol-based, saturated and long-lasting ink. Also refillable, so your pen should last. Now that I very much approve of. So your pen should last forever. Right, Unipin Fine Line, black 0.3. Smooth flowing pigment ink, waterproof once dry. And fade proof even in continuous exposure to light. Steel supported polyactyl nib, delicate and fine yet sturdy tip. Yeah, that's probably really good because sometimes I do tend to mash the tips a little bit. Kneadable eraser. It's supplied in a flip top case to keep the eraser clean and safe. So as long as you can open it. Trouble is, I find, see, I'm not convinced because I'll show you this is one of my current kneadable erasers, so you see I would have a problem getting that back in a case now, wouldn't I? Where's the other one? Yeah, they all end up, oh there it is. This is the one that I think has given up the ghost because I've used it with chalky things too many times and it's kind of gone a bit, I might even, now I've got a new one, I'm going to throw that in the bin. But yeah, this is the kind of shapes they end up, so I'm not convinced it will go back in here, but the flip top case will be useful for pen nibs or something else. Right, that manky one's going in the bin. Probably had that for years. They last so long. So anyway, that's that. And the Faber Castell Grip 2001 pencil. One of a kind, extremely popular amongst the art community. Easily recognisable, ergonomic triangular shape, non-slip comfort grip. And the marker pad, acid-free paper, works beautifully with alcohol markers, specially formulated to prevent ink from bleeding or seeping through. Allows for colour richness and vibrancy and is a perfect partner for your Copic markers. So, shall we have a bit of a swatch? I'll put a link to Alexandra Olivia as well. Received the title Top Talent for Illustration category from Adobe Design Achievement Awards in 2019. Aims to inspire others but bring joy and colour into people's lives. Have a good read. I love reading about the artists and about their journey of how they got to where they are and how they work. Okay, so let's have a quick flip through this so you can see what you're getting here. They give you a little bit of a sort of summary of what you can do with the supplies in the box. Oh, it's pear flavoured, not rhubarb and custard. Oh, a bit disappointing now. What's up to rhubarb and custard? Here's an article about the artist. Oh, she looks nice. She looks like an interesting person. Artists always do, don't they? I'll enjoy a good read of this later. Beautiful style of work. Very inspiring. I'll definitely be carrying that into my response to the challenge when I get round to it. Right, Scrawlr tips. This bit's always really handy. We've got a double page this time, so some advice from the artist and then there's some things to try with using these supplies. So I'll have a really good look at that before I do the challenge. So she's given us some tips about Oh, each marker has a code that corresponds with its colour to help you find specific hues and blend colours nicely. The code starts with a letter followed by a set of digits. Oh, this is all interesting information. Yeah, I'll have a good read about that later. It's best to use the brush nibbed end of the marker to blend. Seamless coverage. Slowly work your marker in small circular movements across the area you're colouring. Right, so instead of going kind of back and forth. If you prefer to do your line work with the fine liner first, wait for it to completely dry to avoid unwanted smudging. It's worth noting that yellow ink pens are notorious for being extra smudgy, so use this pen with a bit more care. See, I would have thought even when it's dry, if I use alcohol markers over the top of it, it's going to smudge. But we'll have a look at it when I swatch everything out. Scrawlr Gallery. Oh, now this was quite a challenge, this one. It was a real head scratcher for me, this one. But I always love to see what other people did with it. So the challenge phrase for last month, or this will be 2 months ago, was digital dystopia. It's really interesting to see what other people did. Oh, look at that one. I love that. Well, I love all, I mean, they're all, look at this. Yeah, they were all very different and very inspiring responses to the same prompt, which is what makes it so interesting. Yes, very impressed with those. There's always some kind of article related to the supplies in the box in some way. There we go. So let's have, because I don't want to drag on for too long with this. I've got one afternoon, and then I'm back to work again tomorrow. So there's quite a few things I want to fit in this afternoon. I'm so glad to see my Scrawlr box had arrived though. It's a lovely welcome home. Very thin little pad, this. Very thin paper, actually, marker paper usually. So it feels it's very white. It's very, very smooth. And quite thin. Hard to imagine it won't bleed through. What I find the most difficult to deal with is when it, not so much the bleeding through to the other side, because you can always protect that. It's when they bleed outside of the lines you're trying to fill in. Does that make sense? They just kind of keep on moving outwards. Right, okay, let's use one of these sheets. Call me Doubting Thomas, but just in case, I'm going to put something in between. Okay, let's try. Try the pencil first. So this is a 2B, was it? 2B? I mean, it's a 2B pencil. 2 equals B. Normally you just see 2B, so I'm assuming that's the same as 2B. But to me it just doesn't feel... It's nice though, I'll use a pencil. It's fine. Kneaded eraser, I know how this is going to work already. The nice thing though about a kneaded eraser is that you can knead it into a point. So if you've got a whole area like that, you can knead it into a point and just take off small lines like that. You can sometimes as well, say I've sketched something out, I'll just use my kneaded eraser to just kind of lift some of it so I can still see, but it's much fainter before I ink over or whatever. See, I've already kneaded it. It's too tactile. There's no way this is ever going back in that box. I've never had I've never kept my kneaded erasers in anything before, so I will make use of this for something else, like I say, pen nibs or something would be ideal, but can't see me using it actually for the eraser. Fine liner. So, oh, that is lovely. I think I've been using some nearly run out fine liners for my Inktober, and it's so nice to use a brand new pen. So once it's dry, this should be completely waterproof, and that is completely dry now. Let's try. Let's just check. Yes, we're getting no movement there, so that's good. But one of my concerns is, and let's try the yellow, because they said that was notoriously notorious for being more smudgy. Let's try this over the top of that one. Yeah, that's definitely picking it up. Clean that off. So yeah, I think probably I would err on the side of caution and do my lining, my fine liner work afterwards. I'm sure you can get, yeah, you can definitely get liners that are alcohol resistant, so that you can use them with things like Copic markers. Right, so let's try these out then. A little bit like yeah, this paper is very thin, but it's not kind of spreading outwards. Let's use this. So say I wanted to colour this in. And they're saying to use, if you want smooth coverage, use small circular movements. So I'm keeping it to just a tiny bit within the border that I've drawn there. I just want to see if it keeps on moving outwards. Just give it a few seconds. I think it is bleeding outwards slightly. I'll try that again with one of the other colours in a minute. Let's try the chisel tip. Okay. I suppose once it dries, it is smoothing out again. At the moment, I don't like how this looks. Let me show you closer up. At the moment, I'm feeling like I don't like how this looks. But as it dries, it definitely smooths out. So that's probably fine. Right, let's try the other colours. And I want to try blending as well. This is typical of my totally unmethodical swatching when I get new supplies. So blending them together before they're actually dry like that seems to work pretty well. You get a nice blend there. Let's just try blending this in a bit more. I could also try my trick of quite like doing that. Yeah, that's quite fun. That's quite a nice way of blending. So just touch a little bit of another colour ink onto the tip, and then you see once you've finished. Oh, there's a little bit left there, but it kind of cleans itself off again. It's quite fun. Well, I like the colours. I'm going to have to experiment a bit more with blending of them. If I look at what we've got here, I'm not sure how you would get these different shades of the same colour. I could try, what I like to do sometimes is just scribble a bit on my glass mat, spritz it with water and apply it with a brush. At the moment I can't see how else you'd get these different shades of the same colours. Let's just try I'm going to do that now. The thing is, they're not water but they're alcohol based, so I'm not sure that that's going to work, but let's give it a go. No, that isn't going to want to work at all. No, whether you could do it with using isopropyl alcohol or something instead of water. I'm going to have a bit of an experiment with these. At the moment, I can't work out how you would get those different shades of the same colours. Are there any hints here that blending and layering? Blending is a great way to achieve smooth colour gradation. I personally like to start with the darkest colour before gradually adding the lightest colours in. You can also try layering or blending different colours to create more variation. If you only have one marker or limited colour options, you can still create more depth to your drawing by adding layers. The more layers you add, the darker, more intense the colour is. This technique is great for shading. This is already quite dark, so if I went over it again, okay, so with this one I'll go over wait for it to dry. They do dry lovely and quickly. Okay, so that's got 3 layers, that's got 2, that's got 1. So there is some variation, but not a lot. I certainly can't get a light colour like that. So yeah, at the moment I'm a little bit confused because the implication is that those are the 3 colours we've got and I should be able to get those different shades. I will have a bit of a fiddle. Before I start the challenge, I will have a look for any tutorials I can find online about using these and just have a good read of all of the tips and things, and make sure I'm not make sure I'm making full use of these supplies before I get started. So anyway, that's just a really quick look at what we've got this month. Here's everything we've got in the box for October 2021. Again, I'm very happy with it. I might also, I think I've got some marker paper in a bigger size because I always struggle to work in such a small size. It's all right for swatching and experimenting, but when I come to do my challenge piece, I'll probably want to find a bigger sheet. But anyway, yeah, so really happy with that and very inspired by this month's artist. I'm looking forward to giving these supplies a real good workout and see what I can do with them. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.